11 top-notch mindsets to help you succeed soon. Fortune, yours, and ordinary people change the excellent people change their cause, and the leading masters of changing the. Carol Dweck, a professor of psychology at the University of Stanford, studies mentioned in research about the lifelong maturity that the difference between people is not due to talent, ability, or level of hard work, which is due to the way thinking at the level of a person's thinking is the maximum limit of their life under. This is a top way of thinking. If nurture them, you will achieve success earlier than people. Other number 1 adaptive mindset: 1 drop water weighing about 50 times the weight of the amount of a mosquito when combined with gravitational acceleration of droplets. Water on mosquitoes is no different from a car. The big bus crashed directly into the person, but at stars in rainy days most mosquitoes is still safe. An American professor who has use a high-speed camera to record the scene. Mosquitoes escape in the rain when water drops, falling on the wings and legs of mosquitoes at will, leaning in the direction of the water droplets. Flip over to let the water drop slip away. The mosquito's body is covered with an object. Water-resistant material like lotus leaves helps. They easily get rid of water droplets with how to just stretch her legs and wings. Even when hit by a drop of water, the mosquito will, according to the thrust of the water droplets, and fall together down, then quickly adjust to separate from the water droplets and continue. Vulgar fly. No matter how heavy the water droplets are, mosquitoes can still escape thanks to the ability to continue to adjust the response strategy to environment and situation. This is also proving Darwin's point in the theory of evolution that species exist must be the strongest or smartest species, but the species that reacts the fastest to replacement. Andy Grove, the founder of Intel, used 2 theoretical proposals: change at speed 10 times the change from the outside, always faster than we anticipated. 10 times you try to look and see how many the once stable job has been transformed. How many professions used to prosper. Prosperity is being replaced by reality. Virtual in the age of continuous movement. If we want to stabilize it, we must dynamic adaptation to change before. Let's explore more. K counts a lot of real money and helps quickly achieve talent. The number of the First World War is throbbing. C. Columbia University assigned tasks, adjustment and maximum LC adjustment to reduce aircraft hole bullet hole. Different of machine B is not uniform in that the VCs who were hit should be reinforced most. It sounds reasonable at first, but mathematicians, talented Abraham Walt opposed him again, said that reinforcement should be carried out in places with few holes. The most bullet is in the wall chest cave. Like that, from the point of view of probability, every set parts of the aircraft have a chance to be shot down. Hit the same. But why is the bullet hole on less engine than he speculated? That planes hit by engines cannot go back, but the planes with bullet holes on other parts may still be. Lowering safety is similar to that of a patient. More injuries in the legs than in the chest must be because the legs are more susceptible to injury, but because people with chest injuries have usually normal deadly only visible. The planes were hit, but the masters saw the bullet holes. Missing the distance between them lies in the 4. Uniqueness. The probability of people possessing probabilistic thinking can make the right decisions than investment guru Charlie Munger ones. Likewise to your investment wisdom. Like the first rule fishing story, the fairy of fishing is fishing where there are fish, and the second rule is to always remember the first rule. All our lives we face 3 problems: what should not be done and what should not be done. Repeating what probabilistic thinking helps. We recognize what we can do, don'ts and don'ts. Need to do a long-term. Number 3, lever thinking in the long term. 19's British Library needs to transfer more than 13 million books from the old London campus to the new department at SDP. Estimates the cost of transportation transfer up to £3.5 million. If you're the manager of the library, you will think of ways to reduce rental costs. Cheaper labor reduces shipping costs, but in the face of a huge workload, every solution seems to be just salt. Leave the C. People with the highest mindset will do what a young person in the library found. To the manager, the young employee to tell the manager, I have a way. Just give me £150,000 is enough. The next day this young person posted an information in the newspaper that from Now the British Library will be open for free and unlimited for all people to save costs for the location. Please return the book at the mail. New institute at the specified address. Young people have turned a mindset of system on turning books into thinking. Returning books at a fraction of the budget. Expected and completed 90 ph of work. Transferring the thinking book of really strong leverage. In the book The Genius of On the left, Crazy on the right, there is a sentence. If mindset is a wall, then the world located on the other side of the picture. The walls of this world will never have an alley. The only thing that stands in your way is you're fixed only when you have a problem and go into a dead end. Try to change direction. Yes, you will see the light at the end of the road. Tunnel number B thinks 4 million. Michael Simons, an American best-selling author who spent 5 years researching self-made billionaire Mr. Discovery that these outstanding founders are very similar when faced with the problem of for them to use four-dimensional thinking to see world, while most people still only stop at one-way thinking. People have one-dimensional thinking that limits vision in their field of expertise. People with four-dimensional thinking can see from the past to the future through for hundreds of years to make decisions. People with one-way thinking only pursue short-term benefits while private four-way focus on long-term benefits. Long example: Jeff Bezos, founder Amazon. He is ready to invest billions of dollars for experiments that may fail or take up to 7 years to make a profit. Or as Warren Buffett, president of Berkshire Hathaway, only invests in the company he believes he can keep. For decades, Masayoshi Son House, the founder of SoftBank, once asked employees a question: why almost every people who do not achieve great success? The staff was embarrassed by Masayoshi Son. A mountain on paper. Beneath the mountain is a circle, and on the top of the mountain is a circle other than two circles connected to with the word ideal. He said that it looks like a lighthouse line. When you have clear goals, you will more patience, calmer and more consistent. Short-term success won't cost you directions, and temporary failures are also doesn't scare you, so don't hit the price is too high. The short-term achievements of a year, and don't underestimate these. The change of 10 years is always to do the right thing. Things to do. Time will give you sentences. Pay. Quote number 5. Upstream Thinking team. Editing of a reality show that used to interview programmers in the country and ask them what the challenge is. What is the core of their profession? Can you think their work is just spinning around writing code better than mastering it? More programming languages but sentences. Answers from these experts, not at all unrelated to they all gave the answer in unison. Query. The needs of the vice president of Tencent shared a story in his time at Google. At that time, he is responsible for raising the rate transition from search to ads. That time, the company's sales team noticed the conversion rate of people low Chinese use and suggest to the technical department that should increase the size, font of ads and color change background to stand out more instead of adjusting directly. He and his team asked the core problem you want to solve. What is the decision? After the exchange, they realize that the business team wants to increase the rate convert. When investigating more, they appear that the website of the portal information in China usually contains many banners at the beginning. Make users do not pay attention to the upper part of the page but scroll straight below the display position. Google Ads are at the top. Then they move the ad placement to the bottom of the page and conversion rate. Increase. The number of top engineers not only focus on writing the code, they still have seeing the needs of the people behind this code line is upward thinking. Source in the book Thinking Methods. Chart of McKinsey. Chart thinking method. McKinsey also mentions a principle. Work together. Number lazy thinking at University Hokkaido, Japan. A research group on evolutionary biology conducted an experiment with 3 groups of ants. Each group consists of 30 children to observe how they divide work. They discovered that in the herd, most ants are very hard-working and busy, clean the food, transport team and take care of baby squirrels, but some ants show very lazy. They just look around, tilt when others are at work. Biologists call these and tongue and mark. They were surprised that Group C was cut off, eating the food of the penguins. Hard work becomes panicked and lazy. Mark D and H to lead the herd in search of food. New school is not really out of time. Ham just too. Reconnaissance is called the ant effect. The sound of friends and ants is not yet. Psychologist Jordan Peterson once gave a self-test sheet as follows. You spend a lot of time on things easiest to do and complacent that even if there is no achievements but put in a lot of effort. Delay in the name of preparing to look. It seems busy, but in reality there is no any progress never checked. The result of the work of reading a lot of books, but never summed up. Law, or if there is a summary, it will not apply. Application to life. If you have signs icon on, it's time to change when plugged in. Bend forward and don't forget to look up into the distance to clearly see the direction of number 7 thinking. The scene. In the mid-19th century, psychologist Kurtka has put forward the theory of the scene, that the external environment. There are two types of a geographical environment. The actual field of the two behavioral environments is your child's imaginary environment. The grandfather told a story like this. A winter night, a man rides. The horse arrives in front of an inn in the snowstorm. Was blind. He was glad to have found. Was surprised by the owner's place. Pick up and ask where the man came from. The man pointed to the outside of the shop. Hearing this, the innkeeper said in horror, "Did you know that he had just ridden a horse over across the lake?" Constance finished listening to the fallen man, collapsed right at the feet of the owner. When the men riding horses across the lake are lips, the geography school is still in his mind. It's just a field full of snow. If you know you're overcoming a dangerous large lake, that he will probably didn't dare to ride a horse galloping on it, but because he thought it was hard soil. To continue to move forward after knowing that he was so shocked that he fell. People are products of the environment. The best way to change yourself is always put yourself in a nurturing environment that wants to increase your ability to focus. Create a undisturbed space. Wants to lift. Highly aware of the removal of these apps, poor quality short videos, and instead read the classic books. You want to have positive mood. Stay away from something that makes you depressed and less controversial with others, and spend a lot of time. Immerse yourself in nature. If you don't satisfied with the current situation, catch investment from changing the changing environment. Myself starts now. Number 84. Redirect is not every picture. Walls are worth stabbing into the capital life. There are many possibilities and no regulations, which forces you to follow the road to the end despite difficulties. When the road failing to change the path in time. Times are a good way to take responsibility. The best for his life. A netizen shared the story of her cousin. She's over 30 years old and has a job, stable, but in the eyes of her relatives, considered a bad girl. Every time she gathers for family, she was inevitably questioned by the uncle. Then her parents asked for gender. Introduce her to a guy who both have a fortune, likes to be similar, and quickly has a feeling love for each other. Soon they discussed to getting married. One day cousin love flagged for detecting messages on the phone boyfriend, and know that he has a habit of gambling habits. Every month almost all his salary is spent on this, and his family also helped him hide at first, she tried to advise Mr. to quitting because gambling is very addictive, even though he did not refute but did not pay advice. And then one day he suddenly came, borrow money from her to cover her life. Surprised to ask him, who had just received his salary, "Why do you need to borrow money?" He answered, "Me have lost everything." And he even showed frustrated and reproached. Only her fiancé ex got into my story and heard that. Sister, without saying another word, he immediately turned away. Walked home that very night. She had proactively proposed to break up the next day. Both sides of the family constantly advise her should think again, that the guy will change and should not be given up easily, but she still insisted on breaking up. After that, I met a better man, and the other guy is in debt because of gambling, even lost their jobs and have to hide debt. In this story, the core is not all perseverance has a result, but there are things that should not be endured. Persist forever because it is just stubbornness. Life is not always smooth, and not every wall is worth. We plunge headlong into giving up the morning. All the way will be better than blind bigotry. Guang promptly stopped and pulled his legs out. Vung Lo can find a new life. Number 9. Fill in the blank thinking. If you can't solve the problem, you will become the problem of the CEO of Alipay. Peng Vi once said that although Jack Ma's decision was, "What my mission is only one help," that decision becomes the right decision. Bitter. The greatest success of a person lies in the ability to solve problems even if, at work or in life. Thinking. The pit is the core competitiveness. Writer Cycle once told about an personal experience when he first started working at a company after only 3 days as assistant CEO. Suddenly announced that he was participating in the meeting. Just entered the meeting room before understand the content. He was scolded by the CEO. Straight face. He is the person in charge of the page. The company's website is right. The website is bad. Like this. It must be quickly reformed. For 30 days I want to see the version. Was just launched at that time. The cycle of people. He has only been doing it for 3 days and completely ignorance of website operation. But he quickly understood that this was a trap set by the predecessors out to challenge. Many people may refuse to accept the job, but the cycle did not refuse him. Just nod and continue throughout that month. He was busy making plans, planning for categories, fun techniques, the team's work coordinator, UI design, and he finally came out in time. The new version is very ahead of the CEO deadline. Satisfied, and then discovered that he, who is not the person in charge of the website. This makes the CEO even more evaluative, and proposed the general director to cycle of working as a product department manager. At the same time, he was nominated as an export employee of the group in years. After just over a month of work from a new employee, cycle has become the person ranked as important thanks to its ability to fill holes. The cycle says that each time the hole must be filled is an opportunity to train and grow on your own. Themselves help to improve the will and mind. From there to become a person who is capable of the ability to deal with all difficulties naturally and build a solid foundation for karma later. Work is always a serial pit chain. After the pit, and your work is to learn how to fill the hole well. Only when filling full of holes you can continue to move forward. The distance between people and bodies is currently in the possibility of being able to fill the hole or not. When facing difficulties, people excellent often knows how to find solutions, while ordinary people find a way. Justification for their incompetence and evading responsibility. One can. How far you go depends on your ability. Filling their hole is so large that. Number 10. Wooden barrel thinking. Definitely don't let your shortcomings ruin the advantage. My really smart person is who both know their strengths and see weaknesses instead of trying. Face your weaknesses and find a way. Make the most of your own points and find out the shining moments of private. I have a famous scientist who Germany's name was Otto W. When he was a child he did as he pleased, parents' wishes and study literature, but he himself was not interested in Van Trong. After a semester of teaching, must inform his parents that W very hard-working but too stubborn. Such a person, even though he has perfect virtue, also cannot be promoted in Van Trong. His parents then gave him the Fire Society lesson, but the teacher of the Fire Festival also hit. If he didn't have a talent for paintings, his paintings are not noticed by anyone. Wak has had a lot of failures when going wrong. This significantly reduces self-esteem. News of he until the chemistry teacher. His kindness advised him very well. Meticulous and talented in practice. Try to pursue chemistry, and from there the ability to of the WAC as he burned quickly grow into an outstanding talent in the field of chemistry. In 1910 he won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry thanks to its success in synthesis of ancient artificial flavors. With the ruler has a short inch, there is long development of human intellect. Uneven. Everyone has points. Strengths and weaknesses can become an obstacle on the road of life and limiting our growth. A smart person is a person who knows how to promote strengths and avoid weaknesses. From there, can open up a wider and wider path of life. Large and smooth. Share. Number 11. Thinking empty cup. Sometimes work re-establishing life requires doing. Empty mind. On the internet once had a sentence something like this: a young man later, when the failure of the startup was blamed for the following era and surrounding circumstances. I heard my parents talk about a Zen master, Thang Dao, at the pagoda. He decided to come to meet. He was originally a disciple of the Zen master, but he was arrogant and said, "How can a minor monk have enough?" How to greet me shortly after meditation. The monk personally welcomed him, very humble. When the Zen master makes a cup of umbrellas full, he continued to pour more water. The young man wondered why COC had, but he continued, poured the Zen master with a smile and replied, "That's right. The cup has. If it is full, how can you fill it with more water?" Hearing this, he suddenly realized. The Zen master reminded him that no matter what we always need to keep in mind anti-emptiness. Only if you always know how to do empty yourself and don't cling too much. Only in the past can we rebuild the future. Actor Mai Yoi once shared in a program about a small detail when she co-starred with Tran Dao Min. Tran Dao Min is a famous actor with professional skills and attitudes that have expressed that ability through dialogue and his actions after the performance. Chen Daoming was not in a hurry to leave, but stood quietly next to him and watched intently. Young actor acting code Y Loi No, restrained in curiosity, and asked Mr. Tran, often stood by and watched us perform, "What do you want to instruct?" Chen Daoming smiled and replied, "I am a senior, but I always have a heart, thoughts in the heart. We must maintain our attitude. Learn to immerse yourself in the younger generation without arrogant." Clown is a top actor. Tran Dao Min country still keeps the spirit. The three beings of all beings of the three masters. The person who accompanied him must be my teacher. Always humbly learn through thinking. This drum cup his acting skills. He became more and more skilled. French writer Émile Zola once said the whole meaning of life lies in discovering the void. Stop the unknown and don't stop increasing knowledge. If a person just forever immersed in the aura of the and complacent, they will not be able to achieve breakthroughs. New outstanding people often dare renew yourself, erase the past and start from scratch to create a version better than his own. Bayan imprisoned. The value and social status of a people are directly proportional to the ability to. Their replacement ability is irreplaceable. Where does it come from? Independent personality and unique ways of thinking. Life is a journey of training. The ability to break the limits of thinking. Education is a bronze medal. Power is a silver medal. The relationship is a medal. Golden chapter and mindset is the card. Ace right thinking method. Much more important than the effort to think. Diversion helps to stop in time and passing thinking to fill in the gaps to improve performance. Forces that create distance from others. Wooden crates are sturdy for exploration and highlight the advantages of empty cup thinking, helping life to start over from the beginning of the rest of his life. That we all own the means. Top-notch thinking to live more harmoniously with this world. There is a saying of achievement that how far have you achieved in this life depends on your thinking model. The way of thinking determines the way of thinking. If you can't reach any height, you step. Feet can't even get there. Books you read, the paths you take, the experiences you have and the people you have. You meet all the stones that pave the way, helping to upgrade the thinking of. You continue to hone in the forging world. Practice in your mind and then one day you will overcoming your own limits to see the bigger world. Thank you. Follow today's content if you find my content valuable. Don't forget to share with friends and relatives. Follow me to know more about these Chibo's secret greetings and appointments. See you again.